How's it going, everyone? We're here to check out the top skins for this next week, and we have a lot of medieval stuff pumping in just because that was what the big update was. Now that we're after Valentine's, we can go ahead and check some of that out. If you're new, you don't know how this quite works, and you're like, wait, there's like 100 something skins here you're showing. Where do I get them? Well, these are just the skins that have a potential to come in for this next week. Every week, 100 or so skins plus are submitted, and then the game's creator and lead dev Helk picks 8 to 10. They go for sale for a week, and then the whole process repeats again. So there is that. Starting off, we always go into my top 10, and first up, we've got the Under Armour burlap shirt and pants set by Sill. And as you see, it just has this beautiful detail to it. You have separate pads and so forth, and the burlap is actually a very flat surface, so it's hard to kind of work with it and make it look like it has different layers, and they did a really good job in sculpting this. It's definitely a very awesome burlap set that's right on point with this month's update. Next, from Little Ranger, we have the Shogun road sign set, and we've seen a couple little pieces from this set so far, and people really like the high qual, so I could see the road sign set doing beautifully as well. This whole thing is just amazing sculptor job. As you can see, all the little details here and there. The red ropes look really well done. Everything on it is just detailed beautifully, all the way up to the horns and the spikes and teeth in the mask. Next, for Deployables, we have the Bloom Furnace by Scorpion, and this is just such a beautiful furnace. You can see that there's a little bit kind of like light coming through the cracks there, and you can just see it just has these cherry blossoms, and it's just beautifully sculpted. If only they could actually pop up and off of it like the branches and so forth, but hey, you know, it's the best they can do with what we have. Then over here we have some rugs that just make sense, the medieval flags, red and blue, and they just look really great. I think these banners would look awesome, and I think a lot of people would love them for the roleplay ability there. Then over here we've got a continuation in the ramen set, which has been very popular. It has beautiful details with the bushes and the plants overgrowing on it, and then the neon signs, and of course there's always some sort of kitty. So there it is. If we go ahead and take a look on the back, it also has another kitty and some neon glow, which is always a plus for the back of vending machines. Alright, then next, if we move on over here, you can see we have the Interplanetary Journey Door by Y9J. And if you take a look at this, it just has such a cool detail. It really looks like this whole thing was like laser engraved. There's broken pieces here and there, and the panels themselves almost look like they are popping out at you, even though it is a flat surface, and that's just a really good use of this. Then moving along over here, we have ourselves the Royal Gate Garage Door. It comes in two versions, one with transparency, one without. I'm not sure if the transparency is going to be too much here or not, but as you see, it's all around through the gates, and then you kind of have a bit of a block in the middle with the burnt flag. Last but not least, we have ourselves the Solar Stones Garage Door by B3D, and this is just one of those ones that's very beautiful. It just has a nice rainbow color to it, which shines, which always, you know, appeals to people, and then on top of that, it has kind of a chaotic stained glass kind of thing going on with it. If we go ahead and kill the lights, these two actually do not glow. None of those doors do, but we do have some beautiful glow on the ramen vending machine here. We pass through, you see it lights up quite nicely. And then if we go ahead and cruise on over to the Blossom Furnace, it just has this really serene, beautiful, kind of pinkish with little hints of calming kind of red for the glow. Last but not least, we do have two weapons for you in my top 10 this week. We've got the Cybercore Thompson. This is a very, very cool looking set, and the one piece that did make it in did pretty well, so I'm hoping maybe we'll see a continuation in this. How do you guys feel about that? It also has a custom cut Thompson sight that's actually different from the other ones we've seen. How do you feel about the version of that? Then, last but not least, we do have ourselves a SAR for you, and it's a continuation in the Reflector set. We did see the Reflector Python make it in, and it seemed to do pretty well. The dark black with purple seemed to grab a lot of people's attention, also with the nice kind of cutouts. As you can see the bullets kind of coming through the mag there, Aiming down the sights, it has a crazy cut sight as well. So hey, there it is. I could see a lot of people really wanting to grab it just for that alone. But that's going to do it, everybody. Let's check out all of the other amazing skins submitted for this week. Alright, so starting off with our clothing and so forth, we've got a kettle hat for you, made out of the boonie. I think it's pretty well done. It does kind of look like bent metal. I think they did an okay job on that, so it doesn't really look like cloth anymore. Moving along, we have the Hidden Killer set, which is this crazy planted out bandana and poncho, and it really has this like ghillie look to it. You also have this cool kind of little logo with the skull and bandana. But yeah, man, this would be some very crazy bush camo. I could see people really wanting this to pop in for that reason. So we have another really awesome medieval set with the medieval hoodie and pants by Duck. And as you can see, it's just, again, as you can usually expect from Duck, very beautifully sculpted, has lots of different layers and, you know, colors going on here. And yeah, it just has that same kind of look as a lot of the new items that came with a medieval. It's a mix of new and old-timey. Next, we have the Ultramarine hoodie and pants for you. These are probably an easy no-brainer for this week as well. I could easily see how picking these because this set has done well, and a lot of people have already been asking for the hoodie and pants. So here it is, definitely a very popular set that would be an easy pick for this week. So we have a bucket helmet skin, and we don't see these very often because, well, they're very rarely picked, but it's the Broken Helmet by HSM. And as you can see, there's two versions actually, but this one here has a mesh in the front, the other one doesn't. I actually kind of prefer the one with the mesh. It looks a little more like you tried to make a, you know, makeshift cosplay knight's helmet kind of thing going on. But there is that. We have a single high qual set for you this week, and it is the Wastelanders version 2, and this also kind of fits with the update. It's very kind of scrappy, put together. The only thing, maybe the bullets are a little too much, but this face mask really does kind of have a medieval kind of vibe going on with it. But there we have it, Wastelanders version 2. For backpacks this week, we have the knitted backpack by Saigo, and as you can see, it just, the whole thing looks like it is completely knitted. Even has a little smiley face and flowers and tassels, and yeah, it's just ridiculous looking. It doesn't even look like a real backpack of any sort. I feel like the whole thing would be really floppy, and whenever you put stuff in it, it would just kind of stretch out like a bad plastic bag. Because, you know, knitting isn't really meant to hold stuff together. But maybe it's just an outside knitted layer attached to a backpack for the look. One way or another, it is just a skin, so that doesn't really matter. Lastly, we have a cardboard backpack for you. And we have various different cardboard sets going on, so who knows how the fate for this one would be. But one way or another, it is the first of the cardboard backpacks. Who knows if we'll see more later on. But as you can see, there's lots of tears and wear, fragile and so forth, hands off, all the different little marks you would expect. Alright, next up with our deployables, we have the small large box. So it's a small box made to look like the large box, and then it also has its little cousin over here of the small large wooden medieval box. So very well done. Don't know if this will pop in, but if it does, hey, there we go, it'd be a companion to the real big one. Then moving on over here, we have another one for you with a primitive box. Moving to our large boxes, we have the shipping container box by Felt. Comes in three different versions actually, not glowing, glowing, and then one that is labeled for guns. But I'm starting to look like I just spawned in two of the exact same boxes. So you'll have to go and look in the list to see that. Next over here, we have ourselves the Evil Grinder box by Kit, and it almost looks like you can look into like a furnace there, and whatever it's grinding up, it seems to be skulls. So this thing probably eats people. Next over here, we have the Heater large wooden box, and we've seen a couple different iterations of like heater boxes, and this is definitely a well done one. The sculpting is done really well, and you can actually, you know, see the depth to it. It doesn't quite look like a flat surface. Moving on, we have ourselves the traditional straw archery target by Ideal. We don't see target skins too often, but this would definitely be a fun one. Moving along, we've got a couple barricades for you. The rat barricade and the leather barricade. Then we've got ourselves the classic fridge by Micro. Friendly. Sure. Trust Rust Raid, like that one as well. Then moving on to the rugs, we have the family photo collage rug. Some nice little kind of watercolor looking. Not watercolor, kind of looks more like oil painting actually. Then over here we have ourselves a crazy rug for some padding for your crazy room. Then we have the Holy Drop Shrine. And the Golden Age panel art by Vase. Definitely a nice piece of art. Moving along, we have a single wooden door for you, and it's a double wooden door. It's made to look like the shields. There's two versions. One has transparency, one doesn't. So as you can see, there's little cracks, and you can kind of see through them, along with some of the holes, like the shield. Then moving on over here to our first sheet metal door, we have ourselves the abstract metal leather door. Then we have the shield metal door. One has transparency up top like the shield, and one doesn't. Then we have the Bone Lord metal door. Metallic Beast door, which has only transparent version. As you can see, all the tears through the metal of the claw marks and where it's all been put back together. Then over here we've got a crazy kind of circuitry design with the neon circuit board. Then we have the Beast Lore sheet metal door. The Overheat sheet metal door. This actually has two versions. One has a transparency where you can actually see through where this face is instead. Then we have ourselves the Sizzling Gaze door. Moving on to our garage doors, we have a medieval garage door for you, followed up by the protective barrier garage door, again with two versions, one with this transparent and one, I believe, with just less text actually, so they both just have transparency. Then we have a shield garage door. As you can see here, it has the transparency there as well. The voltage garage door. Neon Chill garage door. Research Center garage door. Nice little Zen Labs light right there. And the Casino Neon door. Last but not least, we have the Ballistic Armor door for you. Very cobbled together, very rusty and fitting. And let's go ahead and kill those lights and take a look at the glow. Oh, here comes that pesky helicopter in the distance again. Like how the glow is just some of the door on that one there. Shield definitely has some nice glow. Take a look at our rugs. Then we can cruise all the way down to our boxes here. Alright, now we can move on to our tools and weapons, and we've got a couple of hammers for you this week. First one here is going to be the Medieval Hammer by Zimic. Then we have the Fleur des Les Hammer. Probably mispronounced that. And lastly, the Heritage Hammer. Nice little addition to the Heritage set there. Then moving on to our rocks, we've got the Punk Rock. The Diamond Rock. Look at that diamond studding. And lastly, the Crazy Snail version 2. Next up, we have a bow for you. It's going to be the Chomped Bow. As you can see, there's a big bite taken out of it right there in the handle. If we go ahead and draw it back, you can see there's a few more bites. It has nice kind of red wrapping all around it. Then next up, we've got a Pumpy for you, the Star Destroyer. This one just has kind of like a future-y kind of military look to it. It looks old and new at the same time. Aiming down the sights here, you have just kind of the iron sights, but I mean, it's a shotgun, so hey. Moving along, we have the Tank Buster Ioka. I'm not sure if you'll be busting any tanks with it, but it is definitely a nice, rusty, game-fitting design. Moving along to our pistols, we have the Python Steampunk Edition, and man, the carving on this is beautiful. Xenon did such a good job. The barrel really does look like a corkscrew design, and then you've just got all the carving. This is absolutely a very cool one. Aiming down the sights here, you do have kind of a slightly more yellow golden tip to the front. And there we go for our reload. Next Python is the Tempered Edge Python by Say Chains, and as you can see, it has a nice kind of bit of a shine to it, depending on how the light hits it. It's very kind of chromed out purple. Aiming down the sights, you do have a lighter tip versus black sight. Then next up, we have a SAP for you, the Snow Pistol to be specific. As you can see, the whole thing just looks like maybe it sat in the freezer a little bit too long. But don't worry, you ripped off some of your lumberjack shirt for the grip there. Aiming down the sights, you've got frosted sights. And there we go for our reload. Moving along, we have an SMG for you this week, the Trophy MP5. It has two versions, and this is version 2. Whole thing looks scrappy and painted up and used and abused. Fits right into rust, and it has a black tip to go for the sights there. Then we have a continuation in the Racer set by Azzy, and you can see that it fits pretty well onto the MP5. Definitely has a very kind of nice esportsy look, but still faded. Aiming down the sights, you do have an orange tip against the black rings. Moving on to our ARs for the week, we've got the Bones and Roses AK-47. Has a very kind of tattoo art style to it, but in the background you can see these faded skulls. It's kind of painted or stickered over. The grip itself even has some skulls carved into it, and then you have like a drawn, again, kind of tattoo style barbed wire, but it's actually, you know, it's thorns. Those are plant thorns because those are leaves there. Aiming down the side so you can see another one of the skulls, and there's a green tip to the side. Moving on, next we have ourselves the Hot Rod AR, and yeah, I don't know what exactly this person's face has to do with a hot rod. Maybe because there's some flames here and there, one way or another. Very kind of Japanese anime style kind of drawing here. Aiming down the sights, you do have red on red for our sights. Moving along to the last AR, I believe. This is the Azure Gaze AR, and yeah, it just kind of has a very kind of white, off-white, you know, against that sky blue and then that neon blue, and it just, the contrast I think is quite nice. Aiming down the sights here, you do have a dark gray kind of tip against the white. Kind of wish they used some of that blue in there to make it pop more. Last but not least, we do have an LR for you, and as you can see here, it's got a little bit of sculpting done. This is the Warfare LR300. Aiming down the sights, you do have kind of a target like painted over the ring, and it even goes to the front, so you've kind of got like a half tip, as you can see. It's definitely a interesting design for coloring the tip that I haven't seen done before, actually, I don't think. But there it is, everybody. That does it. Sound off down in the comment section below which ones you're hoping to pop in the most and why. Any other feedback you have, I'll try to get to whoever it belongs to. As always, thanks for watching, and stay rusty.